This is the Pro America Report on The Answer San Diego.
Welcome, it's Ed Martin. Great to be back. I'm very pleased to speak now to a friend. I actually was trying to think about when I first saw her speak. She is the Minister for Families in Hungary, Katalin Novák. She's also an attorney, but now she's in the government working for families. We'll talk about that. I met her, I think the first time in Verona, Italy, where she was speaking to the World Congress on the Family. And then months later, she came to the United States and spoke at Congress. And I'm hoping I'll see her later on in the year. She's hosting another big conference in Hungary where it's very important on the family. So she's been leading for a number of years now on this question of what is it about our policies, the policies in Hungary and then all over the EU and the world that can help our families. So first of all, we were talking off the air about our own families, which is she has 3 children, similar ages to mine. So we're commiserating on that. So we won't focus on that. But let's welcome Minister Novák. How are you?
Hello, Ed. Thank you so much. I'm just doing fine, and the whole family is, because in Hungary, when you ask somebody how you are, then we regularly answer. So we just don't give you the answer that, well, how are you? How are you? Just as in the US, but we say, how are you? We start to tell stories about our families, how the kids are doing, how the grandma is doing. So we are fine.
Good. Well, so first, let me ask you about the topic for Americans. We're finally emerging from the pandemic, right? Whatever the choices all different countries had to make to be safe, and now vaccines and all. And it feels in America, 4th of July is our big holiday. It feels like the 4th of July is a new Independence Day. How is Hungary doing coming out of the pandemic? How's the economy? How are the people dealing now? What's your perspective, especially for the family?
It has been a very difficult year, honestly. I think for everybody, it's been so much different from what we are used to, and many challenges arose for the families as well, because you had to homeschool the children, which wasn't easy. We are not used to that at all. We had to, from one moment to the other, we had to stick to a completely other situation, and many had to work from home, which is not very regular in Hungary. But I think that is a good experience. I mean, we could learn lessons from this period of time.
Right.
And it also, I'm quite optimistic by nature as well, but I experienced that it even strengthened family ties more, because many families realize that the most important is their own family, and it's their care about the parents, the grandparents. They are so worried about their own family members. They are helping the children. So it brought together families. Of course, for us, economically, socially, it wasn't an easy situation for a year. Our tourism suffered just as all over the world. Our healthcare system could, until right now, it could provide services all over the time, so it never collapsed. That was a very important point. And also, right now, we already enjoy freedom, because our vaccination rate is very high, the highest actually in Europe. That means that 50% of the Hungarian population is vaccinated, but everybody is vaccinated in Hungary who wanted to be vaccinated as an adult. So it means that now it's optional. If somebody, it has always been optional, but now we say that it's not anymore the responsibility of the state to provide the vaccination, because those who are not vaccinated for the moment, they are the ones who refuse to be vaccinated. So we right now enjoy life again. And according to your question, related to your question about economy, we now are recovering slowly in an economic, from an economic point of view as well. So that means that we are regaining the workplaces, and we don't have our employment rate is now as high as it used to be before the COVID.
Yeah, we're talking, by the way, let me say, Katalin Novák, at Katalin Novák MP. I'll put it up on social media, the Minister for Families. You know, I was thinking about the first time I heard about you was our mutual friend, Dr. Laszlo Sabo, who was then the ambassador to America, who came to St. Louis for our Phyllis Schlafly Eagles and spoke on the policies in Hungary. A lot of them, he wasn't just for the family, but a lot of them were the family. And our people were so excited to hear about proactive policies, laws and policies for the family, not just neutral, and so he, of course, is back in Hungary. I'm sure you have a chance to see him, but he was a great friend to us. But I want to ask you, too many people in America think that, let's make good laws that work for everybody. Hungary said, we want to make laws and policies that incentivize the family. Tell us of the mindset that you have. You're the Minister of Families. The Prime Minister has said he wants these policies for the family. You know, it's kind of like if we have America first, Hungary says Hungary first, but then within that it's family first. It's not before you do other things. Tell us about that mindset.
It's very logical because Hungarian people are family friendly. So we are by nature family friendly. That means that Hungarian young people want to have children in the future. So if you ask young Hungarians if they want to have children, they say yes. If they want to get married, they say yes. If you ask them how many children they want, then in average, it's over 2. So that means that in theory, we would have enough children, but in practice, it doesn't happen. There is a huge fertility gap in Hungary, just as in all over the Western or let's say the developed part of the world. Right. It is a phenomenon that exists all over in our societies. So the reason why we say that the government has here a duty to fulfill is that there is this huge fertility gap. So we say that we don't want to. I don't even say we want to incentivize. We don't want to push. We don't want to persuade. We don't want to convince anybody. We just want to enable young people to have as many children as they want to have at the moment when they want to have these children. So that is the main message. And for that reason, we introduce family support schemes, which, yes, at the end of the day, are incentivizing also childbearing, but on the first place, enabling these young people to found a family at the moment when they feel like they would like to, and they don't have to postpone this decision just because of financial reasons.
When you as you watch, and I want to transition a little bit to Europe, how Hungary fits into Europe, because when you watch how often the pro-abortion movement has influence in policy in other nations or in the European Union even, how does Hungary balance that? You know, at some points you must feel like you're being, you know, kind of run over by the abortion mindset, and you have to really, you know, fight back, right?
Well, many times they want to give us the impression that we are run over and that we are, you know, some retrograde, anti-modern society or leaders. But that's, of course, not true. I mean, the evolution doesn't mean that at the beginning you're conservative and at the end of the day you will turn out to be liberal. It's not that. I mean, you can choose either to represent this or that ideology, or I would rather say values. And we represent Christian, democratic, conservative values. So that means that Hungary is a Christian country because our founding first king was already, chose at that time Christianity 1,000 years ago. And ever since, Hungary has been a Christian country. And that's part of our culture. And also we are family friendly, and we of course protect life. So for us it is natural. It is, and I would say I am happy that when you rose the question, you said that the pro-abortion movement, because they call themselves the pro-choice, and I don't think that they are pro-choice. I mean, choice is not if the child is already there and you choose either to terminate the life or to let that life be born. But the choice is before. The choice, you have the choice either to have children or not to have children. You have this choice in Hungary. So I think the real pro-choice thing is what we are doing in Hungary, is that we are protecting life, and we are protecting the real freedom of choice, because you can choose to get married or not to get married. You can choose to have children or not to have children. You can choose to have a large family or not to have a family at all. So I think the real choice is to be able to really consider these options and say that I want to be a full-time mom, or I want to be a full-time employed person, and I don't want to have any children. So it's your choice, but we enable you to either choose this or that, or to choose both at the same time, just as myself, for example, being a mom and being a working mom, actually.
We're talking again with Katalin Novák. She's the Minister for Families, and at Katalin Novák, MP. I'll put it all on social media. One last line of question before I lose you. Thank you. We're talking to her from her office in Hungary. From America, for conservatives or for more conservatives, we're watching a great border crisis now. In fact, the news in the last day or so is Vice President Kamala Harris went to Latin America but has yet to visit the border. In fact, she was asked, you haven't been to the border, and she said, well, I haven't been to Europe either. And you kind of want to shake your head and say, we're not being invaded by Europeans. But Hungary has a reputation for being clear that you're going to be a nation of borders on immigration, and the European Union loves to try to make that into something negative. Can you just talk about how you see it as a leader in the government and why it's important?
So first of all, a country needs borders, and second, the borders need to be protected. And even if we can freely travel inside the European Union, we are protecting the external borders of the European Union as well, not only the Hungarian borders. So that is our duty, to protect the borders. That it's as simple as that. But a nation needs also protection. Nobody can enter illegally a country. And I know you have this problem of illegal immigration towards the US. And I think that is unacceptable. I mean, illegal mass immigration, we cannot accept. But we also want to safeguard our sovereignty in being able to decide on either wanting or not wanting mass immigration to Hungary. And because we have a lack of children, and we have a declining population, we need children, but we want to support young people to be able to have their own families. And we don't need mass immigration in Hungary. What we want is to be respected for our sovereignty and to be respected in terms of these decisions as well. We respect the decisions of the others, but we want to be respected as well. That's the only thing we do. But in Hungary, that is important. There is a national consensus about this. So the Hungarian people, the vast majority, like 90% of the Hungarian people, say that they want to safeguard these borders as they are, and they don't want mass immigration to Hungary. So that's the general opinion in Hungary. So what we have to do as a government, we have to represent this general opinion, and that's also our commitment, and that's also what we believe in.
One last quick comment. Tell our listeners about your event in September. I think it's the 4th annual event where you're talking about demographics, which sounds not very exciting until you explain why it matters. So tell us a little bit about that event.
So this is going to be the 4th Budapest Demographic Summit, which brings together leaders from all around the world, and also thinkers, scientists, NGO representatives, so family organization representatives, journalists, so many people who are ready to think together about our demographic challenges, which we are facing all over in the western part of the world, but also the solutions. And our solutions are family-oriented solutions. So we always put family in the focus. Right. And we say that this is a conference about demographic challenges. Right. But actually, why is it interesting? Why is it important? Because it is about our future. I mean, there is nothing to talk about if you don't have future generations. If you speak about the environmental protection, that you want to safeguard the earth for your kids and your heirs. So that means that the number one issue actually is we will survive. If we will survive as a nation, if we will survive as Europe, for example. So that is in the focus of our discussions, and I very much hope that it will be at least as interesting as 2 years ago. The Prime Minister will be present. He delivers a speech each time at the beginning, and there will be also prime ministers, presidents from different countries who already confirmed their visit or their appearance at this conference.
Well, it's great news that you're back in person, that you're going to be by September especially. You'll have everyone have the ability to be there in person. So the Minister for Families, Katalin Novák, thank you very much for your time and for all that you're doing. And we have been watching. Oh, I should remind our listeners, this came to my attention because I got an email from a priest in Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, Father Harrison, who said, look at this woman speaking, and his church is St. Stephen of Hungary Church. It's St. Stephen. It's a Hungarian church. So he said St. Stephen of Hungary must be helping. And Cardinal Vincenti, our great, a lot of Americans watched in awe of Cardinal Vincenti. And it was in LifeSite News, one of your interviews. I think I just heard from your staff. It was originally in Portugal and a Portuguese network and translated. So thank you for your leading in the world as well as in Hungary. And I'll be praying for you and 3 kids. I have 4 kids. We need a lot of prayers. These kids, they make you old. So good luck with everything.
Thanks so much, Ed. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. We'll be right back. Thanks very much. It's Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. Back in a moment.
This is the Pro America Report on The Answer San Diego.